Hello everyone. It is Sunday, April the 16th at about 6 p.m. It's getting dark here in St. Louis and it's very cold. And we are in Soulard, which happens to be where my haunted house is located and my escape rooms. And so we are going to talk today about how to start your own horror gift store or gift store in general for your escape room or whatever. That's what we're going to talk about today while we walk around Soulard's Farmers Market. And I wanted to say that the convention center, okay, you can see over there, that building up there, that's where the Cardinal Stadium is. So we're about a mile from the Cardinal Stadium. And you see this building right here? Let's get a better look at that. See that building right there? That's where the original darkness was. Now, by the way, it's windy, so hopefully I'm going to speak up. But the haunted house used to be in that building, the darkness. That's where it started. It was in the second floor, and then the whole first floor, we used to build attractions. This farmer's market right here, which is right across the street from the darkness, and it goes on forever. It's the oldest farmer's market in the United States, and you can buy just barrels and barrels of food for next to nothing. And so I wanted to mention that today, see, you can see over here, and we're joined by Chris Black. Say hello, Chris. Chris is loves horror, and he's in the haunted house industry, and he loves horror. So we asked him to come along, and he knows Soulard. He works at the darkness quite a bit. And Soulard, just so you know, has the United States' second biggest Mardi Gras, right behind New Orleans. They get about 700,000 people crowd these streets. Now, on these streets, you have restaurants, you have bars, you have entertainment. They have all kinds of functions. And by the way, it's very expensive to live here. And this is where the darkness is at. It's one of the best areas of St. Louis. I actually think it's the best area because what's on the other side of Soulard is a place called Lafayette Square. So they shot a lot of the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney over there. I think it was supposed to double up as Chicago. And right there, that's a Mission Taco. And right there, that's Bogart's Smokehouse. What's the significance of Bogart's Smokehouse? Because I know a lot of you have heard about the famous Pappy's. They own Bogart's. It's the same place, essentially. Just a different name. But look at these houses. Everything's French, okay? And we're not going to walk all through Soulard, but there is a lot of houses, a lot of restaurants, Protagonist Cafe, literally a literal coffee shop right here. And you can see in there, they're hanging out. They're sipping their mochas. And look at that, they got a library on the wall so you can read books. It's a very hipster kind of area here in Soulard. Do you like Soulard here, Chris?
Soulard's a cool place. There's tons of bars, there's restaurants. It's always something happening, especially when the weather warms up.
And how far is it from the convention center?
Probably a couple blocks or so, quick little Uber drive.
And one of the reasons why I bring up all this stuff is because, and then, by the way, that's called Epic Pizza right there. And it is epic. As you know, people kind of comment when they come to the trade show. For those who are watching this video and don't know what I'm talking about, the National Haunted House, now it's Escape Room and Christmas. That trade show is right here in St. Louis every year, around the March area. And the convention center is on Washington Street. So we've been doing this vlog, walking around the streets of St. Louis, talking about how to improve your business. And so far, we've done a video on how to improve your escape room revenue. We've also done another video talking about trade shows. And by the way, there's a lot of cool restaurants. You can go all different directions. Let's go look at that, because this place is really cool. You see this right here, Sweet Divine. And they've got their own They've been on cupcake wars, as you can see. So you come over here to Sweet Divine and you can buy cupcakes. Not open at the moment, but let me tell you, this place is absolutely packed with people. And if you feel the need, you can go to church. And I don't actually think that's a church. I think it's a reception hall for weddings. But you can walk through Soulard, and I don't want to walk this whole place because it's gigantic. But all these homes are very expensive. And this is one of the coolest places to live in St. Louis. If you live downtown, that is. And a lot of people drive around on golf carts. But I would say, and I may be wrong here, Chris, is how many restaurants you think are down here? About 60, 70? Easily.
That, bars, cool little shops and stuff like that.
Yeah. And there's also this one really cool place where you get ice cream. And they got pinballs and vintage arcades. And they put ice cream on waffles. It's like all down here.
Should have took out the darkness mobile.
We should have taken the what?
We should have taken the darkness mobile, cruised around.
You're talking about the, we have a darkness golf cart, which I'm not sure if it's charged. But Soulard is quite big. It goes all the way down and it veers off all kinds of streets. And Anheuser-Busch, the world's biggest brewery, is right down there at the end of this street. So Soulard kind of ends right where Anheuser-Busch begins. And then on the other side of Anheuser-Busch is none other than, what's on the other side of Anheuser-Busch?
Lemp Brewery?
The Lemp Brewery, where the Lemp Brewery haunted house is. But I can tell you right now, and we're gonna cross the street again, look how beautiful like these homes are. Look at that. That's like spectacular. What's really cool is you see the balconies. All the homes in here are restored. They've been featured on like TV shows about like when you're relocating. Soulard is a very hip, trendy little area. And I want to say this, that if you are, by the way, I have my hood on because it is very cold. And by the way, it's almost the end of April and it's really cold. But if you're tired of hanging out on Washington Street, branch out. You come to Soulard and you're gonna find that there is a gob of restaurants. And then if you watch the other videos, I walked around St. Charles Main Street. And then my other video, I walked around a place called St. Charles, Streets of St. Charles, where you could actually stay. And you're really close to the convention center. And here's the 1860 Saloon, and you can see it's totally packed. This is a cool, trendy place to come and eat. And down there, and I'm not gonna walk all the way down there, there's a bar called Molly's, there's an Irish place, and my favorite, and there's Molly's. My favorite place to eat down here is a place called Tucker's Steakhouse. But oh, well, I take that back because I really like this Mexican place, which I think is like up here. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna walk down here, look at the Mexican place, kind of loop back around because there's a lot of restaurants over there where you see the tent, okay? So
already you lied. We weren't going this way, now we are.
Now we are, because you know why? My favorite Mexican restaurant, and I swear to God, in all of St. Louis, is this one right here. So whenever you come to the Transworld Show, look how beautiful that is. You're probably wondering, when are we going to talk about starting your own gift store? Well, we can talk about it right now. Now, let me tell you, when it comes to starting a gift store, the first thing you're probably wondering is, where do you start? You start by committing to having one, okay? You start by going all in. And I think that's the key, is you don't want to just do a half-baked retail store. I think the traditional haunted house type of gift store is selling your t-shirts and glow sticks. This place is called Chavez. And I'm telling you right now, that place is off the chain. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you that right now. That they make all their food fresh, and look how cool those houses are down there. You see the big trees and the big balconies. Like every place in here is super high end, super expensive. Tons of people just walk the streets of Soulard. Tons of places to eat. So when you're at Transworld, swing over to Soulard and check out the restaurants. And you can just walk around like we're doing right now. And you don't have to worry about walking up and down Washington Street and whatnot. Now, getting back to gift stores, and Chris here, he loves collecting horror merchandise. Is that not right, Chris?
It is true.
And when you buy it, you never even take it out of the box. Is this correct?
Sometimes. Depends how limited edition it is.
Yes. So the kinds of stuff that you want to sell stuff that your customers would probably not see somewhere else. Although Best Buy, and I've even seen in Target, they've been selling the NECA toys and so on and so forth. But, you know, they're usually crowded on like a little shelf somewhere. And, you know, they're all grouped kind of together. But at our Darkness gift store, which you'll see at the end of this video, we're going to kind of go through there. We're going to show you how we've expanded it greatly. Look at this tree. Now, I'm not a tree climber, but I think I could climb that tree. I think it would be pretty easy. There's just, I mean, Soulard just goes on forever with bars, restaurants. I don't know what this is, but it looks like it's just getting going. I don't know what this is. But we're gonna kind of come down here and make a loop, and we're gonna talk about gift stores here. Now, I will tell you that what I did at the Darkness was I started to realize with my, I had a haunted house where the escape room is. And I realized the escape rooms were doing really well, and I needed more space for the escape rooms. I made a commitment to get rid of the haunted house. Because you upcharge that haunted house, because see, that's your first thought. Being in the haunted house business is like, oh, what do we add to have more revenue? Let's add another haunted house. Wrong. That's like thinking 5 years and back. So I decided to get rid of it, go all in on escape rooms, and we did a mini golf. That business is generating $120,000 to $200,000 per month. The haunted house, we upcharged it for $5. It was tying up half of that building. Was generating about $80,000. And then you had all the actors and everything else. It's kind of a no-brainer. You might be thinking to yourself, oh man, do I really want to tear something out to add something new? Yeah, you do. So I took that here we go. It's like more of everything. There's another place called Duke's. Look at that. That is a church down there. It's a really cool one, in fact. And I think there's but you're kind of getting the idea. And there's Chris over there. Look how cool that balcony is, Chris. You have to admit, that's really cool architecture. And this isn't the junky parts of St. Louis. This is like the nicest. And check this out, Chris. What do we got here? What does that say up there? We got something Halloweenish.
The Medusa?
Yeah, the Medusa. What the heck? It says spells, hex, and something. Char? Man, I didn't even know this place was here. Look at that. What is Medusa's? Do you know?
It was my old hair salon, and the girls kept fighting, so I said, fuck you, get the fuck out.
Okay.
So they're up on 12.
Okay.
But the city wanted me to take the sign down, so I climbed up there and put spells, hexes, and charms.
There we go. Look at that. Ouija board in the window with a skeleton.
We're going to put pralines and voodoo.
Palm reading. And there's Medusa. A plaque right on the wall. And please forgive us for his language. But anyway, getting back to the video here. So I took that experience from, that really kind of set me on the path, to be honest with you, of thinking that you could take something out that you've known for a long time. There's an old saying that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, I've learned that you can if improving your business is your number one priority. And let me tell you something. If your business makes more money, then you can pay your staff more. And I just want to show you this real quick. You see up there, that is the Italian restaurant, not the Irish restaurant. And then right down this way is a place called Tucker's. And Tucker's is my favorite restaurant. It's down here in Soulard, but that's the Irish pub. And then down the street is Soulard's. But we're gonna walk down this way and walk back to our gift store and take a look at it. And there's restaurants down there. There's restaurants everywhere. See, that one says Joni's Pizzeria Bar. And that is actually really popular here in Soulard, where the Darkness is. And as I said before, the Limp is on the other side of Soulard. So anyway, what I was saying was I learned that experience and how that paid off to get rid of that haunted house. Because it did pay off. Look at this place. I don't know what the hi-hat is, but it looks like a sports bar. Yeah, definitely a sports bar. And look at this place right here. Frozen drinks, the island. And it's all themed like, you know, hey, you're in St. Louis, but it's a beach. Okay, we'll go with it. Have you ever been over here, Chris?
I've never been in here before.
No?
So.
I like the lights. But look at all these houses. And see, again, you don't have to stay on Washington Street. You can come right down where we're at. I think it's one more street over, but I'm not sure. No, here it is. This is called Broadway Waffles and Ice Cream. And you can see that it's open until 10 o'clock. And look how cool it looks. Looks cool, doesn't it?
That's Boardwalk.
Boardwalk.
Broadway, folks.
My bad. But look at that. Boardwalk Waffles and Ice Cream. And they got a couple pinballs, a Fast and Furious, a Galaga Pac-Man. And it looks really cool. And that's right down here as well. So anyway, let's get back to it. So I decided that in the darkness, what I would do is I would go and take out part of TerraVisions to expand my gift store. Instead of having like a gift store that mainly sold t-shirts, I wanted to have a gift store that sold everything. And you know what it became? It became like its own attraction. So like, people come to the haunted house, they go through the gift store, even if they don't buy anything, they see all kinds of cool toys. Like, every time Chris goes in there, do you not like look at everything?
I can't help it. You've always got something new coming in too, so.
And the t-shirts. And that's one of the things you got to remember is you don't want to have one design t-shirt. I mean, we have like 20. And it really works better. And everybody's always like, when's the next t-shirt coming out? You know, because people know you come and we'll have a lot of t-shirt designs. But anyway, I took space out of the TerraVisions. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, no, I need to take more space out of TerraVisions. We ended up taking out a whole giant scene and a bunch of hallway. And here's the thing. Nobody even thinks for a second that anything was removed out of TerraVisions. We took out space and nobody even knows it. Here's another place. This is, I guess, where like Thor would hang out. Hammerstones, another bar. And again, this is a place you can come at night. And let me tell you, this place on Fridays and Saturdays is so packed with people doing what's that thing that the women do?
There's even free toys.
Yes, there's even free toys. A bridal you know, like a bachelorette party. I guess that's what I meant to say. But a lot of women run around here and doing bachelorette parties. This is probably the #1 place for bachelorette parties. Huh?
Look at that.
Antiques. Now look at that.
A witch doctor in there.
Yeah, it's like a witch doctor. You know it. Anyway, on the other side of Soulard is a place called Cherokee. And there's like all kinds of antique stores over there on Cherokee Street. And I could go over there to find antiques. And there's just tons of antique stores. And it's literally right on the other side of Soulard. So you can look that up, Cherokee Street. So anyway, getting back to the gift store, I decided that it wasn't even big enough, so I took out more space. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not opposed to taking out televisions altogether. And you know what I thought about? Is putting in a year-round escape room in there. Like half as big as televisions and making it like a really super scary, look at the architecture on that building. Isn't that cool? I like that in particular, that window with the like the kind of like the balcony look. And look at the architecture they did with the bricks. That's real craftsmanship right there. And I don't know what that is, but that's a business that's Franklin, and it looks really cool. That's all I know. So anyway, what I was saying was I'm not opposed to taking out televisions at all. I don't think any haunt should be afraid of reducing the size of your haunted house. You already know that it's hard to get actors right now. And the customers, you just like focus on the best stuff. And so I'm actually interested in selling televisions, which by the way, it's for sale. If you know somebody who wants it, my clown house, I will take it out. I will put in a gigantic escape room, which then will be in the same room as my gift store. So this will be a way for me to get my gift store open every weekend. So I'm interested more in like how can you generate more revenue and how can you keep something open year round? Well, I could do it if I did what I just told you. And then I thought about with the rest of the space, I could do an upcharged horror museum. I could do VR. There's a few VR companies that have horror stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff I could do. But I already did the math on this. I could probably generate, by removing televisions and doing what I told you, another $800,000 a year. And we're kind of back where we started. And so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down here, we're gonna go over to the darkness, we're gonna see the gift store, and you can see there's live bands like all over Soulard. Everywhere you go. And St. Louis is known for like jazz bands and whatnot. So you'll see a lot of that. So anyway, when you're trying to figure out where or how you're gonna get this gift store in your place, you've got to remove the back end of your haunted house. You got to literally take it out and then move those props like into the haunt and make the haunt better. Here we go, we got another restaurant. And then this one's really popular down here, especially in March because the weather is really nice in St. Louis. You can eat all outside. And it's right here. It's like a mile and a half. So when you come from the Transworld Show to the Darkness Haunt Tour, this is where the darkness is located, in this place called Soulard, which as you can see how cool all of these places are. It's absolutely beautiful. And look at this awesome stone wall right here. God, man, you know that would cost a lot of money to redo. Oh my goodness. It looks like it's essentially a retaining wall. But that's like for a castle, right? So anyway, hold on, let's take a look at this. Look how nice these houses are. And there's another restaurant on the other side of that. Look at this. So cool, isn't it? Now there's a place right next to this called Lafayette Square. And that is really nice, okay? We're talking about those houses over there, $2, $3, $4 million. Most of these houses in here are over $1 million. And they have incredible architecture inside of them. And look at this house right here. Is that not like right out of American Horror Story right there? Yeah? Yeah. Look at that porch. It's like sick. Especially with this stone wall. I mean, my guess is that's, you know, $1.5 million probably. Look how beautiful it is. Look at that. So anyway, getting back to it, the horror retail store, you got to go into your haunted house and you got to make a commitment like, we're going to tear out the back 5,000 square feet. And I'm going to tell you something else that I do with my horror gift store. We book company parties. So that space allows us to have corporate parties in there where we charge people $50, $60 to rent that space and then go to the haunted house when their party's over. So it's also the last impression that people have of your haunted house. And so in that room, in the darkness, if you haven't been, you'll notice there's a lot of photo ops. And we have a lot of monsters, lots of things you can take pictures with. Plus we have a brand new 5-minute escape that we didn't have built when Transworld happened. And check out this church. It's pretty freaking cool. And by the way, speaking of churches, oh, and by the way, see, there's Soulard. We're on our way back. And what's that thing all the way back there? That's the arch. You can see how close we are to it. And by the way, if you weren't aware, one of the #1 top 10 best churches in the entire United States to visit is one right here in St. Louis. I think it's called the Stelia or something like that. It has the most mosaics of any church in the world. People come from all over the world to see it, and you can come to St. Louis and just walk right in it. But it's something to believe, and it actually has crypts inside. And that's a fact. They have dead people buried inside of it. And so it's one of those churches with crypts. But anyway, getting back to the gift store and the whole ending of the haunted house, by carving a big section of your haunted house out to make kind of like a different kind of end, you know, where you could host parties, you could fill it up with some like horror video games if you want. You could put a big retail store. You could put, you know, you could put whatever you want in there. But we have a lot of photo ops, autographs.
Look at that, Michael Myers.
Look at that. Oh yeah. He just pointed this out. Chris happened to notice. There's a Michael Myers right there in the window. Yeah, I didn't catch that. Chris caught that. So anyway, that's kind of where you want to start. You want to start, honestly, by carving that space out in the back of your haunt. That means you might take down 4 or 5 scenes to do it, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. I will tell you that Chris here, who's over here, his favorite place, I think, when he comes to St. Louis to hang out is in that retail store. Wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yeah!
And we're constantly buying more stuff, right? So he always wants to see what's new and so on and so forth. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so we're going to, and by the way, this is part of the farmer's market right here. This is, as you can see, kind of like a park. And it's a really cool place to come and walk through. They have meat places. They have people who sell spice and just everything. So now you're probably asking yourself, where do I get all the stuff? And what should I sell? Well, those are good questions. And I'm gonna give you the #1 tip right now. When you go to a place like Nightmare Toys in Las Vegas, and you look on the boxes, it'll tell you the company, And I have found that you just contact these companies, they're more than happy to sell to you. You got to fill out like a little form, and then boom, you're buying from them. Just like that. NECA, they'll set you up. NECA sells all those like cool horror toys and everything in between. So when you're trying to find where to buy the stuff, it's really no harder than looking on the box and seeing who sells it. Take a picture of it, contact them. And I will tell you another thing, like when you go to like Nightmare Toys and watch the video that we have on this channel, we scroll across the front of the building. They tell you all the vendors they're buying everything from. And by the way, they don't care if you open a retail store. You can just flat out ask them. You need to watch that video called Nightmare Toys. And we interviewed them and they tell you what the #1 sellers are. Obviously, anything Michael Myers is a big seller, period, okay? And another big seller for us was, very well-known things like Freddy Krueger. But when I was at Nightmare Toys, I flat out asked them, what is your best seller under $10? And it was these like bags of horror, like you don't know what's inside of it. And it was from a company called Monolith something. And I just looked them up online, contacted them, and now I can sell them direct. It's really not that hard. It really isn't. So what you're gonna have in your gift store is, one, you're gonna have everything that you can put your logo on. T-shirts, hoodies, like we even made puzzles. You can make beanies. I don't know, what else do we have? Playing cards. What else do we have our logo on?
Shot glasses,
mugs, and so on and so forth. But I will tell you, like one of the biggest sellers is plushes, like little plushes. And you know who makes all those? NECA. So you get a distributorship with NECA, which is almost anybody can do, and bam, you're buying everything under the sun. You know what else we sold? We sold these giant Annabelle dolls and Chucky dolls, or life-size, and collector boxes. Those sold so well. And by the way, look at this. This is the building that the Darkness used to be in. And right there was a shed. And we used to build attractions all on this first floor. And now there's a big tree. And there's a pool over there. And so this is where the Darkness used to be. And we're running out of battery for this video. But luckily, we're almost back to the Darkness. Now I'm going to show you another cool place right here. It's called Pieces. Now it's hard to get in here, honestly. This place is super cool. It's a restaurant bar. It's right here. And see, there's the Darkness right there. And here it is right here. It's called Pieces Board Game Bar and Cafe. And this place right here is packed. They have like $100,000 in board games. And you sit down with your group and you eat and play board games. It's very cool. And you see this complex right here that used to be a place called Broadway Ford. It burnt down, but they sold it to these people. They spent almost $100 million on that right there. That's a very luxury condominium apartment complex or whatever that has like basketball courts, 2 pools, swim up bars, I mean, you name it. And this one here is called Soulard Market Loft Apartments. And it's where the Darkness used to be. And then right there is the Darkness. And so we hope that you've enjoyed this video from the standpoint of getting to know other areas right here in St. Louis. But we're gonna go in the gift store very quickly. Kind of give you a little tour. Sorry about the wind, I know it's windy. Hold on. And here's the Darkness. Now, I'm gonna give you guys all a little trivia. So the reason why the Darkness is called the Darkness is because of this. Look right there. You can barely make it out. That's the S-U-N, sunlight. And then it says factory. It's called Sunlight Factory. And it was called Sunlight Factory because of all these windows. And so what happened was all those windows rotted. And so do you know what they did? They boarded them up. And when I found out it was called the Sunlight Factory, I was like, no way. It's like pure darkness in here. Voila, the name The Darkness. That's where it came from. Was from seeing that on the side of the building that said Sunlight. Now, check this out. Here's the door to the darkness for the gift store, and it says enter here upstairs, and it says a horror arcade or horror store, and then right here it tells you the website, the Instagram, the whole shebang. And then check this out. There's one more photo op here at the bottom of the steps, and this is an entrance into where our actor's room is, and it tells you to go upstairs. And then we have a banner that tells you all of our social media so they can scan it. And check out that really cool, now it's got a bad glare on it, but it says Monster Collectibles, Horror Toys, and so on and so forth. And as you walk out, we have a sign, and look at it. Once again, the door has a sticker on it, and look at all the autographs. And then there's a really cool photo op right here, more autographs, another photo op. And then there's two more photo ops over there. And then here's our brand new escape room, which I can turn on. Then we have a themed claw machine, but this is our new escape room. It's like horror themed. But there you go. You've got two more photo ops, the electric chair. Now let's go into the gift store real quick, and let's look at what really sells. Okay, these really sell, and these came from Trick or Treat Studios. Where are you going, Chris? Okay. I was going to ask him his opinion on some stuff. We have tons of masks, as you can see, but the biggest sellers are mugs. And there's a couple different companies to get the mugs from, but it's not hard to figure that out. Like, you can literally look on the bottom of the mug. Trick or Treat Studios is a great place to buy a lot of this collectible stuff. Now, I can tell you, if you're asking me what the 5 best sellers are, probably purses. Now, this is besides all the Darkness merchandise. It's probably going to be purses. It's also going to be like anything under $10, and that means anything. But you see these plushes right here, and see we have more of them, like up there. And so here is the plushes. These sell faster than you can put them on the wall. Okay, I'm just saying. These, you make a huge profit. So if you buy these for like $250, $300, and you sell it for $600, that's significant. But we have a whole wall of toys, and most of them come from Trick or Treat Studios or NECA, and then there's a handful of other companies that they come from, but it's mostly NECA and Trick or Treat Studios. The Jeepers Creepers stuff sells really well. And you know what? I bought the ET. Why not? Okay. How is it any different from this? This is what you would call like a place, a collector place. So like we even have Batman. Now, that's from the original Batman. I only bought 2 of them. Who cares if it sells or not? It's super cool to look at. And of course, we have all kinds of t-shirts. The biggest thing that we found is that it's a big seller is these pops, but it's hard to get them unless you have a big distributorship. These sell really well, these iron-on patches, but these vinyl patches, they sell like hotcakes. I mean like hotcakes. You know, the silliest thing is this little mask right here is so cheap, but it sells as fast as you can sell it. These like silly Jason masks, they sell like crazy. Everybody wants to walk out of here with something now. The thing that I've learned about costumes is the number one selling costume is going to be Scream. You need Scream costumes and Scream masks. I would stay away from other kinds of costumes. You know, we did okay with Michael Myers. Terrifier mask sold out completely. I mean, like, we were gone on Terrifier stuff. But here's just kind of a look. Like these lunch boxes, you know, you grab this, you look on the bottom, it says Factory ENT. Okay, if you can see that. It's like, it's a no-brainer. You're just looking at where the stuff comes from. You contact the company, and there you go. Now, another thing that I learned, if you go to Spirits the day after they close, you can buy a lot of stuff because you're getting it for 50% off. So why not? Like, you take these tiki mugs right here, okay? Right? Let's see. It comes from a company called B Incorporated. The website's right there. It says geektiki.com. It's not that hard, folks, to see the stuff that is cool and to try and contact the company directly. But the mugs are definitely a hot seller. You see these gremlins down here? They come from, I think, NECA, and we sell them as fast as we can put them on the shelf. You see these full-size Chucky dolls? Big seller, huge seller. We've had to reorder these. The Christmas ornaments. I mean, the purses. Patty has just added these Halloween sweaters, but Patty has gone hog wild with mugs, glassware, and purses. Now you can see also we have these horror themed playing cards, and you know, they're cheap. They're $10. Somebody wants them. Anything like shot glasses is a big seller. Now there's other things you can sell while you're in here. You can have Dippin' Dots. You can sell those mini donuts. But you see those like puppets from Dead Silence, and that is the clown from Poltergeist. You don't have to sell any. You could buy a couple of them just to put them on display. And guess what? If you sell them, great. If you don't, they're kind of cool to look at, right? Am I wrong? But I can tell you right now, and of course we have a lot of masks. The number one seller is Michael Myers. And I would also say that the House of 1,000 Corpses is a big seller. And then you'll also see how we've made like the top, like storage, because you do have to have storage if you're going to have a lot of retail. Also, there's a website where you can get all of these kind of t-shirts, you know, like Michael Myers. You can get, like, you see where it says They Live. All this stuff. There's a company, you pay like $9-10 for these, you sell them for $20, you double your money. So I want to thank you for taking a walk with me today, because I'm trying to get, I injured my ankle, I tore my Achilles tendon. I'm just barely able to start walking again, and I'm trying to walk and get exercise. Now check this out. Look at this. Now, it's just cool. It's not horror, but it's like super cool. And you look on the bottom, you see that it comes from NECA. Okay? Now, I don't have to sell a ton of these, but it's cool for people to come in here and look around at these. And I see these Pac-Man, these sold really well, and so did these Atari things. And then you have like little collectibles like Hellraiser boxes. We have the Book of the Dead. You know, another thing that we have that's really popular are these collector Freddy Krueger gloves. That comes from Trick or Treat Studios. Right there. Trick or Treat Studios. We have towels. We have everything. Now, let me tell you, the coolest part of the gift store, in my opinion, as Chris plays basketball over there, okay, is theming your gift store. And getting this carpet with the Darkness logo on it, I thought it was like the final touch. Like you just visited a place, like who would have even thought you would walk on a carpet with the logo in it? Chris, where'd you go? Let me ask you your opinion. What do you think a collector is looking for here in the gift store? And by the way, I wanted to say, you know, Chris, I did get this over here. I got Bela Lugosi's autograph. Check that out. On the wall. Most valuable autograph in here because it's signed on an 8x10 on his lapel of him as Dracula. And by the way, there's Boris Karloff's autograph up there. And Glenn Strange, that's another autograph that was very expensive. And I met him, Jason Mahona, and I got that autograph. And it says, "To the darkness." But Chris, really quick, what do you think are some of the cool things that a horror collector is looking for?
Man, it's hard to pinpoint one item. I don't know. I mean, you've got really cool masks. There's also limited edition darkness shirts for different events. Those are a must-have. I mean, there's just so many cool.
And a cooler. You just buy the cooler and you fill it up and you sell those all day long. But back to the collectibles.
It's hard to pick. We've got Leatherface bust over here. We've got silver shamrock Christmas ornaments. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's hard to pick one item.
And I can tell you that you don't have to stick with horror mugs, even though most of them are horror mugs. But we have like Rick and Morty, Disney's Haunted Mansion, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jason, Beetlejuice. One of my favorite movies is Trick or Treat. Okay, of course you got Freddy Krueger. And then, you know, you don't sell tons of masks, but you do sell them, but they look cool on the wall. And so your biggest sellers are going to be like the things that I was talking about, the mugs, the t-shirts, the hoodies, okay? Those air fresheners are big sellers, and these come from a company called Trick or Treat Studios. They're air fresheners. And people just buy them as fast as you can put them on the shelf. Because they want to buy something. And there is a Beetlejuice Monopoly. And look at that, Annabelle. Isn't that cool? You pay $300-ish for that. You sell it for $500. You make $200. You don't have to buy a ton of them. These sell really well too. These beanies. But what we discovered was probably the fastest seller in here, besides our T-shirts, are these little plushes. You'd be shocked. Like a guy and a girl are in here on a date, and he wants to buy her something. He gets her a little plushie. You have to remember that people are here. They like horror. So anyway, anything else you can think of over here, Chris?
I mean, Ghostface. Come on.
And Christopher Lee and the Wolfman. So there you have it. And by the way, Patty never thought we would sell these Creature from Black Lagoon masks, but we did. We sold some. So like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to go on another walk and talk. We're going to talk about haunted house security and so much more. So make sure you follow our channel because many more videos are coming. And from Soulard, just down the street from the Darkness, at the Darkness gift store. Until next time, happy Halloween, happy summer, and all the rest. Take care.